What was that? What? What's that sound? Where? It's aliens and they're living in your town. Damn. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town. Are you scared of aliens? Well,
Hello, weirdos. How's everybody doing out there in Weirdo Land? It's time to get weird, y'all.
I'm ready.
Beckett, present.
Ready.
We're doing roll call, baby.
Ready and willing. Back in town last night. I missed the storm just barely.
Vicky,
What storm?
present.
Present.
And Denny's.
Yes, also present.
Producer Ariel. The gang is here. We have a lot to talk about. We're trying something out new tonight, so if there's any glitches, please let us know. We're going on YouTube Live, but we're also trying to stream live from Facebook as well. It's not working. I'm getting word of that. It's not working. Not a problem. We will scrap that. So a lot of stuff in the news going on. Vicky, last week we did not talk about the one thing me and you were talking about before the podcast started. You had said something weird is going on in my townhouse. You got a weird energy, and you kept hearing this word over and over again while you've been here. Now, before you say the word, why would a word constantly be on repeat to you? Are whatever's here, are they sending you a message?
Yeah, typically when I do a reading or I get some kind of message about a location, it can come as a visual where I keep seeing something, or it will come as a movie reference or a book reference, or like just a single word. I don't know whether the word that I heard is connected to, because it is a movie. So I don't know if I'm getting that word because it has some tie to the movie, or if it's just telling me why whatever's here is actually here.
Gotcha. How are we doing out there? Are we doing good with our technical problems, or should we start this whole thing over again? You're good. We're good? Okay. Just making sure. Okay, very interesting. Denny's, people want to know where you're at. Denny's fixing the technical problems going on.
Well, so tonight for the first time, we were trying to see if we could dual stream two platforms at once. So the YouTube one is streaming as always, but we were also trying to add in that Facebook stream as well. So tonight was like one of the first times we're trying it out.
Testing, and it failed miserably.
So the Facebook one is not working. But then, so next time we try it, maybe if we did it in the reverse order, it might fix it. So today was kind of like a maiden voyage on that.
Very interesting. Boy. So
Like
Vicky,
the Titanic, it sank, right?
well, we're trying some things out. We're always trying to do some, stuff here. We're trying to go very visual here at the Weird and Whatever podcast. We are uploading the podcast. The podcast will be uploaded tonight. No worries.
We like experimenting on this podcast, right?
Absolutely. So, Denny's, I thought we'd start off the podcast with doing Denny's random thoughts. What are your thoughts?
Oh, you want some of my thoughts?
We need them. Now, if you're listening at home, Denny's will give us a factoid. Vicky, our educator, will tell us what kind of grade he deserves. Last week he got a lot of A's.
Yeah, he hit it out of the park last week.
Well,
Did real good, kid. Give us some good facts.
So some of these, I guess, are just more random than anything. So I looked up the most common street names by popularity, and the number one most popular street name in the United States is 2nd Street. 1st Street is the third most popular. 3rd Street is the second most popular, and 5th Street is the 6th most popular. How weird is that?
Vicky, you look a little annoyed.
No, I'm just trying to make a chart in my mind with what he's saying.
It's tough to follow.
Yeah.
Is that just your face?
Yeah, this is just my face.
And the reasoning, I guess, behind it is that the reason 2nd Street is the most popular is because a lot of places have a main street, or like it'll be called like something Boulevard or whatever, and then it goes to 2nd Street. 3rd Street.
Oh, so they skip first.
So that's why 2nd Street is the number one.
Just like I'm going to skip the A and go straight to B.
Damn.
Oh, damn.
Getting sassed.
Vicky with the zinger. Denny's gets a B on that, not an A. And Vicky zings the shit out of Denny's. I love it.
Well, so this was a random factoid, more so for the fellas, because you guys talk about how the social media, when somebody does something, it goes instantly up, and then people kind of judge and jury the things right then and there before there's ever a trial or anything.
Now, are you talking on crime? Are you talking on just anything?
Crimes, social media just spreads all sorts of news.
Oh, yeah. I go on social media after the podcast tonight and I say, Beckett kicked my dog Chewy, and then he kind of threw his hair in his face, acting like he was tough shit, and then he walked out saying, "I'm Beckett, bitch." And if I went on Twitter and said that, there are people who are going to believe me.
They'll become Beckett dislikers.
I mean, if I just didn't like you all of a sudden, and I wanted to totally screw with you, and vice versa.
And then they prove Beckett's never done anything wrong, but by then it's too late. His name is tarnished upon social
known
media.
as this dog hater.
Yeah, a dog kicker.
Yeah.
Well, so I found this random fact that in France, it is illegal to publish a photograph of somebody in handcuffs until they are proven guilty. So they cannot photograph people being carried away in handcuffs before they actually have been sentenced as a guilty person. They don't want the connotation. And I thought that was kind of cool that they have their own law over there preventing.
That is interesting.
Vicky, Becky, what are your thoughts?
I was going to say a couple thoughts. Like, I guess technically you could still sue for slander, right? Because if you can prove that it's not true and someone says something, or it's libel when it's in writing, right?
Absolutely.
It's libel when it's in writing. So you could sue someone.
Question: what if you have something written about you? You can't prove it's not true, even though you're saying it's not true. You can't prove it though.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What is that?
I'm not sure how the law would fall on that. I guess I don't know. I don't know who the burden of proof would be on.
Regardless of all that, you've already been affected by this.
Yeah.
And then you have to spend your own money to defend yourself.
And without going too much of a digression, I just listened to a Radiolab podcast, which blows my mind all the time. That Radiolab, if you haven't heard it, is absolutely phenomenal.
What is it called?
It's called a Radiolab.
Okay.
And it's one of whatever the awards that those things get. And
keep pushing people to other podcasts
I thought you only listened to Weird and Whatever, but that's cool.
other than ours. Thanks, Becky.
It's complimentary. And what it does is they were saying that they have these newspapers. It's called, the title's called The Ripe to be Forgotten. And they had all these emails to these newspapers. People are like, hey, man, like, you know that article you wrote where it wasn't about me, but I appeared in that article? Like, it's like ruined my life. Like, every time I apply for a job application, like that situation came up. So now they have a panel and they have this debate, like where they would strike it from the archives. And if the guy ended up, they had certain standards and criteria. If the guy ended up being proved not guilty or whatever the scenario was, they would actually remove it from the archive, so you couldn't Google it or search for it or whatever, which is interesting to think about because that lives there forever. And if you have a journalist, right, they're like, well, our journalist duty in some ways is to keep it out there for public consumption. In some ways, like, if it's really not providing any benefit to society and it's hurting their life, should we consider removing it? I thought it was an interesting debate.
Vicky, your counterpoint.
I think, first of all, going back to Denny's fact, first of all, let's give it an A.
Good stuff.
And to me, that's
Sparks of combo.
but that's responsible because you know how many people are arrested all the time and then they're innocent of what they were arrested for. I mean, that's completely irresponsible to take people's picture. Like you can go on the Palm Beach blotter and you can see everybody, their mugshot, and you can see whoever was picked up or whatever. But there's never any follow up that said, oh, they were found innocent, no charges, whatever. And it can ruin people's lives.
And that picture, you remember it for years,
Right.
and you can't remember the story. And they're like, "Oh, didn't that guy get arrested?" And that's all you can remember.
Right.
So back in the day, I would say maybe 8, 9, or 10 years ago, somebody went on social media that I knew, and they said that I had stole something from them. Now, obviously, it was not true. I never stole anything from them, but they said that I did. They were hopped up on pills. They were going through a terrible pill phase, and they even admitted that I didn't steal anything. But it didn't affect me really because no one saw their post. But there was still 3 or 4 people in my personal life saying, why is someone saying you stole something? And it was a very weird feeling to go through when you know in your heart you didn't do anything.
Right.
And they were on this weird, just being a dick.
Yeah.
It was an odd thing.
And there's so many things that you can't actually prove.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a line like from Scream that says you can't prove a rumor.
Oh,
And
Jamie
doing
Goose.
Nice.
a Scream
Man.
Good
reference.
callback.
One of my favorite horror movies, by the way.
Oh, it's awesome.
But,
Showing you up, Denny.
But it's true. Some things you can't defend yourself against. You just can't prove it.
You can't.
Well, in the other ways, like you've had the discussion, like in some ways, should you? Like I had a buddy that was on The Bachelorette with me, and he ended up kind of getting vilified, and he made, in my opinion, the mistake of trying to answer every tweet, respond to every tweet. I'm like,
Damn.
dude, That's like flowing like lighter fluid on it. Like
Oh.
say it a statement and just like let it go, because you're not gonna win answering, and then you got aggressive with certain people and like responding back. And
There's certain things in life you just have to accept that you're never going to change it, and you can't do
gotta
anything.
move on.
You got to move on.
In some ways, you would say that it's kind of the cross to bear if you're a public figure, like a sports player or a celebrity, like. People on ESPN, like they have debates, like that's their job to like talk about you and gossip and make comments and commentary.
Judge without even.
Oh, how-
sure.
like-
Well, I mean, it goes back to Denny's philosophy on the 24-hour news cycle. Whether it's sports, I mean, the first week before the Super Bowl, where there's nothing going on. Oh, it's so annoying hearing all of these talking heads talking about all of these fake scenarios that never happen, about all of this bullshit, because there's nothing else to talk about. So they just have to create topics and create content. And in a sense, that's sports. It doesn't really matter because it's just, a bunch of people playing a game. But if you're talking about news, you're talking about politics, stuff that really does matter. I'm not saying that sports doesn't matter to a certain extent, because it does. Yeah. But, I mean, if you have a 24-hour cycle on stuff in the news...
always have to have something in the blender.
Always.
Go to BuzzFeed.com and read the first 5 articles. They have to fill... I mean, there's so many sources that go to that for news. They have to fill... every 5 minutes, a new thing for people to pull info from. They talk about the most mundane stuff or make big things out of little things.
And people cite them as a credible source. Now, I think BuzzFeed's great for entertainment. For, hey, oh, cool, the top grilled cheeses in America. I think it's great for that. But if you're talking about making decisions of matters of the heart, fuck that.
What about TMZ? TMZ, like that's what they do.
Did you go out?
You turn
Beckett?
off your...
Beckett, get that voice in
I think
there.
it was my
there.
Oh, did I turn myself down?
I think you did. TMZ, Virginia on our show, she acts like TMZ is the end-all be-all, like they're the messiah. Oh, if TMZ reports and it's factual, what?
Well, that's where she gets her dirt of the day, though.
Yeah, no, TMZ is so biased. Are you shitting me? Oh my God.
They've gotten to the point where they're a major news source now for entertainment.
People they cite TMZ as a major news source, and they are the epitome of gotcha. We are living in the gotcha time period. I mean, it started in the 90s where everything was gotcha.
Yeah.
And now it's at a point where nobody is.
Yeah. It's the news is just really weird right now because there's almost they've attached an entertainment value to it now. Like I feel like they're making a sport out of pitting people against each other who weren't normally against each other.
I
And
hate it.
And they're both winning on that.
Even the Weather Channel, like the
Like,
Weather
down to
Channel,
everything.
the Weather Channel's owned by IBM, and it's a bunch of nerdy meteorologists.
You're
that,
right, it
that
is.
didn't, weren't popular. Probably. I mean, I'm making a stereotype.
Damn,
but
Beckett.
but they're nerdy.
Beckett's a nerdist.
Revenge of the Nerds.
Disclaimer: I love nerds. I just, for me, it's
Beckett's in the fucking alpha betas from Revenge of the Nerds.
and it's just interesting on Weather Channel is they use adjectives like hurricane, Dorian, crawling and lashing at the Bahamas. Like those adjectives they use are so dramatic.
Okay, so
the graphics, and they have to be standing. Like they can't be standing over the overhang in under the overhang. They have to actually be like actually standing in the water talking. I'm
They're
like,
creating
so-
excitement.
It's Sunday morning. The storm is just basically stalking us. It's looking at us like a lurker in a bar. It's got a drink in the corner. It's
that's
just,
basically how they're describing
yeah.
it, which is
That's how that hurricane was. It was that creepy guy at a bar with a drink, just kind of nursing it, lurking, dressing. He's got his shirt tucked in, no belt, looking real creepy. And I'm laying in bed just trying to see where this storm's going, what the schedule's going to be. And I'm watching the Weather Channel. And now, between the updates of the hurricane, they're playing their best of hurricane footage from hurricanes of the past.
Carnage.
Past. And it's all of this produced bullshit of motherfuckers falling down a river and they're working for the police department. They're hanging from a branch and then they're doing an interview and they're crying, basically giving you hurricane foreplay before the hurricane hits.
Right.
Well, that's what they want.
Oh yeah, they want to scare the shit out of. They're not trying to help you. They're not trying to help you.
Think about how divided everyone got during this last storm here in South Florida. Like, there was people not wanting to put up shutters and stuff because they didn't know what was happening. And then there's people that were putting them up a week before. There's people evacuating. And people on social media were kind of trying to, like, turn up the temperature on that.
Oh, just in
like,
my
calling each other out.
Just in my community alone, in the townhouse that we live in, Denny's.
Yeah.
Half of us boarded up, half of us didn't, and there was an attitude. You did not board
There
up.
was.
The way I fall on that is that's like natural selection. If someone doesn't want to like be safe, then just like
I didn't board up, Beckett.
you have a whole studio in here with all your action figures. Can you
Motherfucker, it
imagine?
took me the storm was out there for 7 days. Look out your window, bird. Oh shit, tornado. Put up some shit.
I hope these action figures are insured.
I would never jeopardize my action figure. I had 96 hours to board up, and I could watch it. And if it was, looking like it was going to come over, I had plenty of time to board up.
Yeah.
The people that shaved me can kiss my fat Italian ass.
Well, I felt like the neighborhood was laughing at me because we didn't do anything because I have hurricane impact windows. So everybody around me, everything's all boarded up. They got their wood and they got their panels, and I'm sitting there waving to them out my window.
That's
and
so
I'm thinking
nice.
they're probably like, "Oh, she's so irresponsible. Look, she doesn't even have anything on her windows."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my whole thing is, how do these judgmental motherfuckers? How do they know I don't have hurricane windows? They don't know me.
Well, I did the same thing.
I don't have them.
But when I drove down and I saw a house that didn't, I looked at the windows and like, they look like mine. I think they're hurricane impact. They're good. So I did the same thing when I drove down the block.
I will say we got lucky as absolute get out to have a category.
That would have been a category
to have
5.
a category 5.
Oh.
Basically, like its outer bands were just like kind of just scraping us in the face and just saying like, "Hey," and it just stops.
It's
Yeah,
that guy in the
literally
bar.
stops.
He's lurking at you, Beckett.
It's like a great white shark, man.
If
just
that
chilling.
hit us, like all my stuff would have been absolutely
Oh,
gone.
you would have
Gone.
been you did you get evacuated?
No, I was out of town, but like all my stuff, like my house was built in 1925. It's 2 blocks from the water. I have an old sailboat, an old air. Like all my stuff would have been gone,
Ravaged.
gone. I mean, in Bahamas, like
No, a lot of people can relate to losing a sailboat.
it would have sailed away.
I didn't mean to cut you off to cut you down. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's what I'm
Yeah,
here
what
for.
were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, that's it. We got lucky as hell, and I would always prefer to be over cautious than under cautious.
No, and I do not want to appear like I'm that arrogant jackass. I would absolutely always prepare and board up. If I've lived in Florida my entire life, and I know that if it's not at a certain point, you don't have to board up quite yet. And the boards are here. It would have taken me 20 minutes to do.
Yeah, your place is easy.
It's so easy to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
I just, but it was weird to see people judging other people for not boarding up. I'm like, you don't know.
It was weird. There was an air to the air.
Yeah.
And maybe we're the only community that had that. But if you also had that,
I saw it
let us
online.
know. Yeah,
I saw it on Facebook. Everybody was kind of calling each other out.
I thought about hanging my psychic sign outside. See, I didn't board up for a reason. I knew it wasn't coming. I could have
Nice.
gotten some more
Shit.
business.
Nice.
Damn,
Nice.
Vicky cold. I like it.
That said, even with the weather, the meteorologists, like, they're just giving it its best guess. I mean, every single model at a certain point was saying, hey, it's going to be anywhere in the state. And then it was, like, definitely coming through Palm Beach County. And the fact that it just stalled like that,
It perplexed everyone.
Yeah, I got lucky.
I don't know. Maybe it's me. I come from a very emotional family, and they're spread all over the country now. Ever since my mom passed away, everyone moved away. They're everywhere. So the family members that don't live in South Florida, all they're doing is getting the Jim Cantori update from the Weather Channel.
Guy's a legend.
Holy shit! Bum, 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 Florida is gonna die. Like the worst case, and so they are constantly up my ass. Do you have snacks? Do you have the board up? Do you have this? Do you have water? Yeah, no, everything's cool. No,
I'm glad they asked you about snacks
Yeah,
first.
they were so foolish to even ask him that
Yeah.
question, though.
Of course I have
But
snacks.
see, so I'll text them. Yeah, no, I've got boards on the side ready to go. If it comes, don't worry, I'm gonna board up. So it's Friday, dude. Seriously, are you boarded up yet? I'm like, no, not yet. Don't know where the storm. Get your shit together, man. What the fuck? So they're yelling at me. Saturday, do you have your boards up? No, I'm still waiting for the storm. It's kind of lurking like a creepy guy at a bar.
Yeah, but people know you. Maybe know that Denny's would be filming you on Monday when they're starting to get gusts and you're getting pelted and the boards are going in your face and you hurt your hand.
I totally get that. I painted myself in that corner as but I swear to you, I would never jeopardize Chewy
and your action figures.
Especially my action figures. But it's just so funny. People who don't live in South Florida that act like they know what the hell's going on is so annoying. Can I get it? Amen?
Yeah,
Hey, man.
man, you're here.
Oh, we have our whole subculture from understanding Publix to cockroaches to hurricanes. Like
Yeah.
it's a whole nother
It's a different
understanding
place.
here.
Vicky, how do you know you're a South Floridian? What's a good tail sign that you are?
We weren't dumb enough to wait in the long lines for gas.
So you did not wait in line because you didn't think it was going to hit us, did you? You psychic son of a biscuit.
Well, actually, I had a couple moments, but I actually had a paranormal experience in my house.
Give it.
Right, waiting for the storm. I have a grandfather's clock that was given to me. It was willed to me from my mother, and it was made by our preacher that I used to in the church that I grew up in. And that thing, it hasn't worked since actually Wilma, ironically. And I was in the living room sitting on the couch, and all of a sudden the thing starts to chime. And I'm like, what the heck, right? So I'm like, okay, well, maybe the dog walked by it, and she's a big German Shepherd. So I had my son jump up and down all over the floor trying to get it to do it again. It didn't do it. And then the next day, I'm sitting there again, out of nowhere, this thing chimes. I manually moved the hands around to change the time on it or whatever, and it never did it before, and it never did it since, and it was during the 2 days that I was the most worried about the storm. It did it. So, and I kind of felt it was just like a thing like, you're not alone, and things are going to be okay.
That's awesome. So I want to go on that whole trend of feelings and psychic abilities. People want to know, I think we teased it a little bit when you came into the place. You kept on hearing a word. Now, at my new townhouse here, you say you feel some kind of weird energy here that I've definitely described to you. I haven't really not had a very peaceful night of sleep here. It's been really weird. It's been an odd transition. I've not been comfortable here. I personally feel like I'm bringing stuff with me everywhere I go. And I wonder during transition, on a move, is it possible you bring more spirits with you if you are in an emotional state, you're in a state of transition? Is that possible?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they latch on to you for different reasons. My theory about this place, though, is it's not you. It's something that happened here at this place. And it's not necessarily just this townhouse, because, you're part of a quad.
Community, yes.
Yeah. And it could be it happened on the other side of your wall, but now it's creeped over to your side because you attract things. But I feel that the main thing that's here, the thing that I'm most uncomfortable with, I think was already here. And I think that the reason it's here, I think the reason it's here, it's tied to that word that I keep getting.
So what's the word? 'Cause I want to see if the word is the same word that I keep hearing.
I keep getting conjuring. So I think that whatever is here, somebody brought it here, like they invited it here. And that's really tricky when you're dealing with something that someone has invited. It's a completely different scenario.
Is it possible I invited something from a past place and then it followed me here?
It could. I mean, I know what you used to do.
I still kind of do it sometimes. I did something here that I don't know if you know.
No.
I totally had a threesome with a ghost. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. No, I did do a major tarot card reading right in the middle of our studio.
I mean, that I don't think. I think someone did something, a previous person who lived here, or possibly on the other side, and just creeped over, into your wall. I think that they did something, and they invited something in here. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not completely comfortable with what's here.
Damn.
I feel like there's something.
And this isn't the Weather Channel hype. I'm telling you the truth. I'm looking at you and telling you that I'm not completely comfortable with what's here.
The reason why I keep bringing it up, and I know we've kind of, excuse this expression, cock teased the audience a bit with, what's going on in Jaybird's place? It's just, sometimes it's tough to get.
I'm glad you threw that disclaimer out.
Sometimes it's tough to get everyone's schedule, around. I'm a radio guy at heart, so I want to make sure we capture it and give the content out to the people because they want to hear it. What would be the best way, the quickest way we can get you doing a reading, you doing something in here so the people can hear, see, we get some, at least an analysis what's going on here. What do we have to do, Vicky?
Right. Well, I mean, anything that I do as far as walkthroughs and things like that, that's not something I can verify. We're talking about proving things. The only way that I can prove to people, if we want to go live one night, and again with the recorders, if I get an EVP, that's more concrete. If you guys are watching what I'm doing the entire time and you're listening to what's going on and I get an EVP that says get out or something like that, you guys have watched it. So you can tell I didn't make that up.
We talked about putting a camera on me while I'm sleeping. Y'all, I sleep naked. Boners. It happens while you sleep. I'm sorry. It's part
And
of
I
life.
do feel that you're doing something here that's irritating it.
Huh,
Is
yeah.
it maybe, is it maybe a podcast about the paranormal?
Sleeping naked.
Oh, Vicky, there's such a long list of shit I do that annoys not only the dead,
Well-
but the living.
Well, the sage cleansing was kind of, that kind of pissed it off.
The sage cleansing?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the sage cleansing, maybe the
Tarot cards.
Tarot card
thank
reading.
you.
Maybe we're developing a live studio audience of spirits.
Yeah, hey, maybe it's like Field of Dreams.
So somebody had a email, it was a weird thing. Let me see if I can find it. Thank you to everybody who've sent us emails.
If you're a spirit, what better place to go than a podcast where
Yeah.
you're talking about the paranormal that happens to have a medium on the panel? That's where I'd go.
You would imagine that ghost.
And they have great snacks, right?
But whatever's here has like a major, like when you saged, I got the mental image of, like when you go to pick a fight and you said, come on, hit me. And the person hits you and they're like, what you got?
Yeah,
That ain't
come on,
nothing.
bitch.
Come on, hit me again.
Come on, draw some blood, bitch.
So
come on, fresh fish.
That's what I get that happened during the sage cleansing. It's like, oh yeah, you want to get rid of me? Come on, some more.
I'm bleeding. I like the way the blood
Yeah.
tastes, Beckett.
You're poking the bear.
How would you feel if they did gang initiations in here? That's what that was.
So are you proposing the scenario that there was a real gang initiation here?
Like they did a bunch in here. Like this was the place they did it. You get a letter in the mail and you'd show up.
How would I feel?
Yeah, I mean, how would you feel? Maybe that's what's causing your.
Honestly, I'd be like, all right, content for the morning show. If we could prove it, it'd be great, Denny's. We have a couple emails. I think we should get it. Oh, do you have any more facts?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. Look at that. Denny's.
Look at that.
Spreading conversation, making it happen.
So I was gonna see what you guys thought about this condition. A woman codenamed SM. I guess they keep them codenamed because so few people, only 400 people, have this condition on planet Earth.
SM, you say?
They codenamed her SM. She suffers from a disease called Urbach-Wiethe disease. It's a condition where a person cannot feel fear. What or how would you handle that condition? Because that's such an abstract thing to have.
Well, after you are falling off your billions of dollars, because no fear, you're going to be the richest motherfucker out there. No fear, I think, would lead to...
But also
Or
trust.
death.
Yeah,
or
I mean,
death.
You
You're
can't.
right. You're right. You're right. Good point, Becky.
You can't trust people either because you would trust everybody because you would have no fear of them ripping you off.
Does no fear mean you can't... I think you can still not trust somebody and still not fear them. There's salespeople I don't trust and I don't fear them.
So the
Nothing
guy,
against the sales department. I'm talking about Wild 95.
So what it is, it's a weird condition. They have a couple symptoms, but one of them is the calcification of the brain, and it's the amygdala section of your brain. And what it does is it clouds your ability to feel fear, or like if you feel, she would go up to people. This is how they noticed her. She would go up to people with no regard for how they could handle her if she was invading their space. They noticed it first with her close talking to people. Weirdly.
Oh, close talkers are rough,
Oh,
man.
I hate that.
Gosh, I dated a close talker, but that's another story.
But yeah, weird, right? I had
it's
never
real
heard
weird.
of it.
It's real
I
weird.
thought I'd share it with you folks. Maybe this will pique your interest a little more.
Hold on, Vicky. Give that shit a grade.
We're back down to B.
Damn.
Damn.
Maybe B minus because I feel like it's kind of.
All right, whatever. This one's for
not your best work, kid.
all right, whatever. This one's just for all the lovebirds out there.
Oh, okay. Beckett, listen up. You little horn dog.
So should we go back to this style? In the Middle Ages, being lovesick was considered a real illness, an actual disease caused by humoral imbalance. It was treated with exposure to sunlight, a sit in the garden, calm and rest, inhalations, warm baths, and a diet of lamb, lettuce, eggs, fish, and fruit.
Actually sounds like the right thing to do. That's how doctors would treat it nowadays.
Weirdly, right? They were pretty on point.
Yeah, because
back
usually
then.
back then they would be like, "Oh, drink this snake oil and have put some rabbit hair on your face." Like, that's
Vicky-
actually pretty good.
Vicky, what year were you as a freshman, roughly?
80.
1980. Okay, all right. So let's go back in time. It's 1980. You have a crush on the hottest guy in class. Clearly, he's got great 1980s abs.
Mark DuBois. I know his
Mark
name.
DuBois.
Yeah.
Okay.
As in DuBois Farms.
Oh, wow. Okay. Heavy hitter. Mark DuBois. Did you get little butterflies in your tummy?
Oh, yeah.
Now, as an adult, when's the last time you had butterflies in your stomach where it was kind of like that? Even if it was at the mildest point, when is the last time you can think of on a recollection of you getting butterflies in your stomach?
Not this past March, but the March before.
Hey now.
Damn, pretty recent.
Okay, Vicky, tell that story. Who's
No,
the
it's
guy?
just I hadn't seen my ex in a long time, and I went to Jamaica, and yeah, it was a nice reunion.
Oh, okay. The beast within. I like it, Beckett. The last time you got butterflies in your stomach, who is the person? Give us the scenario. Paint the picture.
It's been a while. I mean, I think that it's Tim. I think what you're alluding to. I think when it was younger, it was more prevalent. And
I agree. That's why I'm asking
Yeah.
this is as a not to cut you off, but is it a age thing? Do you get jaded? Does the being jaded in life, does that cut off butterflies?
I think it's all
Vicky
the-
was a year ago.
Yeah.
I think it's all the above, in addition to hormones changing. I think when you're a kid and it's more unique. It's like your first girl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I think nowadays you're a little bit more jaded. You're less likely to think this person's actually the one. You're going to find something wrong with them. Like there's dating apps where you can meet 1,000 other people the next day. And like, it's a tougher time to like get that. In my opinion, my humble opinion, it's a tougher time to get those kind of butterflies.
Denny's, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think all of the above: hormones, technology, age.
When you get butterflies last?
So probably when I married my wife, Jen. But
Smart answer. I believe she's in the chat room, so you better say that.
before that, it was a long time. You do get jaded with all that fun stuff. But you're right. When you first experience anything, you're so excited. Especially, I mean, the first time you like start macking, the first time you like get to like any of the bases, it's usually pretty.
Yeah, Denny's rounding second base the first time. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, very
Yeah.
clumsily.
Well, that's what they call. We've talked about this before. The hedonistic curve, right?
Yeah.
Like whether it's actually like a physiological like drug effect that actually like you never get that same high as like that first time.
Yeah, you're always chasing the dragon.
But I think it also happens like the first time you do a lot of things. Like the first time you go on a roller coaster, it's going to be way more exciting. The
Absolutely.
first time you skydive, it's going to be the second time, and then that's that hedonistic curve. Then by the time it's your 100th time skydive, you're going to be like, cool guys, let's go do this. This will be awesome. It like becomes like less of a big deal.
So I wonder if it's age and like we're talking about being jaded from things in life. Is it sometimes the right person just knocks you on your ass and gives you butterflies? I mean, Vicky, and I'm not calling you out by any means by this, but you're the oldest person on the podcast.
Thanks.
Damn bird.
Cool, thanks.
I don't mean that in a mean way at all. I mean that in a respectful way.
No, I'm fine.
But what-
Beckett's the tallest.
But what I'm saying is, you even a year ago experienced butterflies. So I guess I'm asking, is it an age thing? Is it maybe a perspective thing where you have been in relationships, you've been knocked down to the point where, you know what, fuck butterflies, they don't exist? Or is it just a matter of it's when you're younger, you think there's a lot of other people that you could be with, and the older you get, you're just slightly more selective, but it still exists?
I think of all the factors in the algorithm, it's experience that's the biggest thing, right? Because I think if I was single and a virgin until 30 years old, at 30, I would be more keen to get butterflies.
Yeah.
But if you've dated a lot and you've had a lot of relationships and a lot of interactions with someone, then I think that hedonistic curve is steeper. Where Vicky was in it sounds like a serious relationship for a while, and then was reunited with that person, and probably has been less promiscuous than I have in my life. So my curve is
Don't
steeper.
assume anything. Beckett.
I don't know.
Beckett likes to wreck it.
Beckett to wreck it.
That was my nickname in college. No, I'm just kidding.
Beckett Ralph.
I'm just kidding. I was actually a hopeless romantic.
But not only there's butterfly times with a person, which is probably the more common thing. But I used to get butterflies thinking about playing baseball. I'd be in class thinking about getting up to bat, and baseball was I loved baseball more than anything. And that was my life. And I'd think about scenarios like I would about a girl,
Right.
and get butterflies that way.
Yeah.
For sure.
And
I
they
get
say that
butterflies on a plane. I love flying. So
yeah.
Is it
get 'em.
is it an excitement, like a conscious excitement?
yeah, I mean, I love takeoff and landing.
Gosh, I hate both of those.
I've
I
heard,
like the middle part.
I've heard people performers say that there's no other high feeling. I think maybe we have talked about this on the podcast. Than performing for a live audience.
Absolutely.
And the bigger the audience, the more electric the audience, the more it's like that high.
The laughter.
The laughter, whether you're a stand-up comedian or you're
A podcaster.
you're a podcaster in a band.
On The Bachelorette.
Yeah. But I think it's also more so when you have a live audience, right? You
Yeah,
have a live audience.
it's like a drug for sure.
Yeah.
No, it really, I can see why people follow that. But with that said, though, it doesn't always go down like that. With great highs come with great lows. There's been times even with our own show where we've gone on stage and people are cheering and they're so into it, and it's such a fun environment. And then there's other times where you go on stage and do something and they look at you like you're weird, you have 9 heads and you're not funny, and you're just like, what the fuck?
Right.
It's a higher low kind of game.
Yeah. Well, that's why stand-up comedy is, to me, I respect the art so much because there's not really a more vulnerable position that you can put yourself in. And as I've learned and heard big comedians be interviewed, there was a time where they bombed. And as you get older and more seasons out of comedian, those times that you bomb become less and less. Seasoned comedians don't bomb as early as new ones. But when you're working the improv clubs and you're working your jokes out, they're putting themselves out there. It's like walking up to hot girls at bars and saying, hitting on them.
Well, so when you talked about the one factoid about having no fear, I was putting that under the umbrella of no fear in an entertainment perspective, on the air, going on stage. And if you had no fear whatsoever, you would crush. Yeah. I think you really would.
Well, I think that would be something that you would learn you could use
Harness.
that power. Yeah, that could be a superpower.
But you're right. I could see how it'd be terrible if you don't get.
Well, yeah, and you don't have protected sex, or you walk across a thin, rail. You walk across a thin rail, or you do all these things because you aren't afraid of getting the girl pregnant, or you're not afraid of falling off that cliff. Those are things that you want to have that level.
You need the fear.
That fear actually protects you. It's really important.
Before we go on, I do want to go ahead and tie this loose end up. Vicky, who is awesome, she's going to be donating her psychic time to our YouTube chat winner. Do you remember the name that you have for the YouTube chat?
I don't remember the last name, but I remember the first name.
So what we're doing now is we're asking the audience a question, and the person that puts it in our YouTube chat area after the YouTube uploads, not during the chat. We want comments after, because it's so depressing to see a video upload and only there be one comment. It does. It really... Denny's, it bothers me.
It rattles.
Really
I hate it.
chaps my ass.
It chaps my ass badly. Last week, everyone listening right now, you guys are part of the grassroots of the weird and whatever. We are at the bottom right now. We have a very passionate audience, which I love. You guys are awesome. You guys give us great emails, but we have to grow our numbers a little bit, and we need your help. Share, comment, do everything. If you see weird and whatever, please be an active member of it, because I want to start doing Vicky readings. So Vicky, who's going to be our winner this week for the reading?
Our winner this week, her name is Sheila.
Sheila.
So she was one of our comments on our YouTube page.
Yes.
From that, and we were talking about the video games incite violence in real life.
And we got a lot of feedback on that. Thank you to everybody for, giving their opinion. Some people agreed, some people didn't agree. Some people think video games are a factor of violence. They say it's not the major factor, but they say, yeah, video games and movies in regular culture to where it's normalized. Some people can't handle that. I think there's a point there.
And
So Sheila, if you're the one who commented, just if you want to go ahead and send me an email at contact@pointparanormal.com, I will set you up for your 15-minute free reading.
And we'll put that down in the comment section below.
Okay.
So Sheila had the winning comment.
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
Vicky liked it. Vicky's going to be picking him because she's the psychic.
Awesome.
So I did want to talk about this. Kind of leads into the Dave Chappelle special. Now, I got to see the Dave. I am a huge Dave Chappelle fan. I think he's the best stand-up comedian of my time. I love him. I think he makes you think a lot. I think, yes, he's always been politically incorrect. I can always say that Dave Chappelle has always gone after everybody. There's nobody safe when it comes to Dave Chappelle. That's what I respect. That's what I like. His latest comedy special was, it just got released on Netflix. So it's got a 99% Rotten Tomatoes score with the audience. So the audience basically loved it. Now, if you look at the critics, the people who write up the articles of your BuzzFeeds and of your whatever you're doing, and I don't know if BuzzFeed did an article about, but I'm saying
Your modern day like Siskel and Ebert people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There was like 7 or 9 reviews that gave up the 17% of the critic score. 7 or 9 reviews. That was it. And then on the actual people score, it was over, I think, 3,000 or 4,000 people.
Right.
And I wonder, I'm just throwing that question out there. A lot of stuff that gets people fired up in the media, they have a bit of a moral agenda, do they not? I mean, looking at 99% with that many people saying, I fucking loved this. And then the 7 people who said, this is morally wrong. You guys are terrible people if you like this.
Yep. I think it's whether it's art, wine, comics, music, you get people that get jaded. I'm going to give them a little bit of just to play devil's advocate that they're maybe not as bad or good. I do agree that they have an agenda, but I think in some degrees, if you listen to music all the time or you look at art all the time, you develop a different kind of palette for it. Where if you're the audience, like when new Picassos came out, people are like, oh, this is crap. Like, this is the worst thing. It totally doesn't conform to our way of doing art and painting and things like that. But the audience or the public loved it. They're like, whoa, like this makes me think, this stimulates me in a different way. And I think that there definitely is an agenda, but I also think if you're too in it, you get a little jaded in it. And I think that the public opinion is what matters. I think that people are putting less in. Siskel and Ebert used to be a big thing because you didn't have crowdsourced opinion
now there's
and technology.
90 sites.
Right. Now you can actually look at public opinion, and that's powerful. That's cool.
So before I read this email, the question I want to pose to the people is stand-up comedy on the verge of going extinct? Are people going to, with the cancellation culture that's going on right now, everyone's so outraged, and it's always about boycotting something. If I don't agree with Ryan Beckett, if I don't agree with Vicky, I'm boycotting the Weird and Whatever. I'm getting all my friends to boycott that. And that was a big part of Dave Chappelle's, attack on the stand-up. So let me read the email. Dear Weird and Whatever, I was wondering if you guys had seen the Dave Chappelle's new Netflix comedy special. He goes full on politically incorrect. I'm a mother of 2 and thought it was hilarious. He goes after the Me Too movement. He makes fun of school shootings. He goes in pretty hard on the transgender community. I wanted to see what you all thought. He's getting huge backlash from certain news media outlets. I thought it was interesting that he has a 99% audience approval while only gaining about 17% from the critics. It was definitely a breath of fresh air from my perspective. Everyone seems way too stuffy these days. Bad shit happens. We all know that. None of us are monsters. In fact, most of us are not monsters. We should laugh at certain shit that sometimes is very unpleasant. Love the podcast. Love Weird and Whatever. Love what you guys do. Amber from Boynton Beach. And then her last question was, is comedy in danger of being taken away? And is the cancel culture good or bad for society? So that's the question I want to pose to us weirdos out there listening. Is the cancel culture good? I mean, on one end, everyone's got a voice. Now, everyone's got an opinion. That's what we're all looking for, right? But is it to the point where it's swung one way and the loud minority dictates what the majority does not want? And that's really kind of what I want to get the opinion on from the people. Vicky, what are your thoughts on all this?
Well, there was a quote in a Woody Allen movie that said, tragedy plus time equals comedy. And I think that part of the thing that's going on there, if he's talking about things that are so relevant right now, that's probably why people are getting up in arms. I belong to one of those Palm Beach Remembered pages on Facebook, and people were mad. One of the administrators said, I would appreciate it if you don't put hurricane humor on here. Well, people use humor to cope with the situation. We were, like Jason said, we were stalked by this thing for days. And, so people made some memes and they made some jokes, and that was the way to deal with it. I'm the only one here that didn't see the special, but I guess that's my homework for this weekend.
I would definitely watch the Dave Chappelle special. He does not leave anybody. He goes after everybody. I mean, he really does.
Right.
Now, and there will be, I will get emails from people who will call me certain names. I don't want to say the names they will call me because I find them, it's a bit divisive, but they will call me just a lot of names for even saying that I like the special. And I will be judged as a person based on my opinion of Dave Chappelle's special. Denny's final word.
Yeah, it's so I think in both ways, it's just the extreme voices. Really, I mean, it depends where you're getting your source of news from. If you're getting it from any of the big ones, I mean, they're going to be pushing their agenda. So I think he's going to catch a lot of flack. But he's like a George Carlin type to me. He's more of there's a style of comedy where people are more philosophical and they kind of point out the peculiarities of life more so than actually tell jokes. Like they're not up there just like, hey, what's this? Ha ha, funny. It's more so like they're telling a story and then they bring it back to reality. And then you look at the big picture and you're like, that is kind of goofy.
Okay.
Why do we do that?
So were you offended at all by anything Dave Chappelle said?
I wasn't, but I mean, I can also step back and see exactly why people were offended. But I mean, like in that email proposed, comedy is one of those weird things that's under a lot of scrutiny now.
It really, for the first time since I've been alive, I have never seen stand-up comics be ridiculed for making jokes.
But how many of them were ridiculed for making jokes? I mean, I know Dave Chappelle's been cutting a lot of flack, but when I think of like the cancel culture, I think of people that have done things that are illegal, right? Like O'Reilly did stuff like sexual harassment things, right? Like you had Louis C.K. that like masturbated in front of a lot of people, which Dave Chappelle made the joke about.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, another thing he's getting major backlash on.
I'm sure. But like, if you do something that's illegal and then people judge you based on something that you have legitimately been found guilty of, then that's one thing. But to have freedom of speech, like to me, like that's where you got to draw the line. Freedom of speech, so long as it's not hate speech, like that's what has basically defined our whole country and like moved the ball forward. And stand-up comedy has had a huge place in our society, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, of moving the ball forward in dealing with things.
And it's
bringing
always
things
been
to
there.
light. Yeah, 100%.
Well, what are your thoughts on someone making a joke, some people would say a horrible joke to get you to think and to get you to, I don't know, contemplate certain things? I mean,
I think it's great. I mean,
are you a bad person because of that?
No, I actually overly use dramatic analogies to help people understand things and for me, myself, to understand things, because I think it's important because it takes a similar scenario in a different context and helps you think about it. In jokes, if you're not talking about it, then, it's a problem. And I think that what comedians do society a service of is make people, to your point, talk about it. And I think it's really, really important. And to Vicky's point, I don't think you can actually deal with something until you're able to joke about it.
Yeah.
I just know for me, and it's tough sometimes because I'm in the public eye, but I'm also a smart ass, but I'm also a very emotional person. And I can get depressed about stuff. And sometimes for me to deal with that depression or that anxiety or that sadness, I have to make a joke. A lot of times now I can't do it on the microphone,
Right.
but I have to say something to kind of like what the fuck? Just to kind of just like a palate cleanser, like a wet trout to the face. It kind of wakes you up a little bit and say, all right, it's time to move on. Not move on, or just life goes on, I should say.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
and I think everybody's different. And I don't think someone's a bad person because they make a bad joke.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people in the middle of the chart, and they just
Of any of these contentious issues.
totally that probably feel a way about it, whether they think it's offensive or not. That don't say anything. You know, they're like, all right, and then they move on with their lives. And that vote, you know, I think that's a large vote, but we hear the extreme votes. It's kind of like American Idol.
There's certain things that I try to put myself in context too, because I try to be self-aware, and maybe sometimes I'm too self-aware. And I'm a white Anglo-Saxon straight light.
Wait a minute.
Male.
Are you?
You know what I mean?
Really?
Are you sure you're white?
Yeah, and definitely straight. And for me, like, jokes about my society or my subset don't really offend me, but like I don't really have a lot of things to be that upset about. But if I was someone that belonged to a subgroup that was oppressed or had been treated a certain way, then I could understand, especially depending on who that's coming from. Because certain jokes that I think Dave Chappelle, got away with, and words that he said that were really funny, you can imagine different comedians saying the same joke would have never, ever been okay with.
Agreed, but let's say in that same subset of people, as you say, some people are offended, some people think it's hilarious. Again, that's just basically saying, I don't like pastrami. I love pastrami. No matter if it's comedy, whether it's a sandwich, whether it's a dog, whether it's a girl that's hot, whether it's a guy that's hot, you're going to get people who just don't ever fucking agree.
That's true.
And accepting that might be the serenity we need.
That's true, but
I don't find that funny. Okay, I'm not going to watch it anymore. All right, life goes on.
I 100% agree. The only thing is pastrami hasn't been, they haven't dealt with, different problems that different subgroups have, right? So someone saying a joke about pastrami, I think, is like, it's relatively benign. Like, I'm a vegetarian, so they could say, oh, like, they made a pastrami joke. But I wasn't, I wasn't in a group that was, I guess my point is, because I could see why they would be more sensitive to certain things, I guess.
I'm just going to be honest with you, Beckett. As an Italian that grew up in a household that loves pastrami, I'm deeply offended that you would even call me out on my pastrami ways. I'm just saying, we're all calling everybody out about everything, and it gets fucking exhausting, man.
I agree.
How are we going to move forward with any kind of peace if everyone's calling everybody out constantly?
I agree.
Denny's, final word.
We don't. I think there's like a small percentage of scientists and medical specialists that really propel humanity, and we kind of just, I'm not even joking,
They're the best of the best. They're the best of the best keeping this
I think
thing
they keep
afloat.
the whole planet going, man. There's
agree.
a 10% upper echelon
That's a
of person,
great point.
and we all kind of just buy their shit. Like they sell,
and
like,
everybody else is a TMZ culture.
exactly.
agree.
We're in our own like
You're right.
worlds. And we're on phones, yeah, and they're just inventing shit.
We're
and
riding the
making future.
coattails of the 8% that are crushing it.
I think that's how it works, man.
That's the academic theory behind communism, and like that's what the Chinese government says. Like, and communism is proved not to work that well. I mean, China's seemed to be doing a pretty good balance of capitalism and communism, but academically they're like, hey, like there's a lot of people that don't know how to read, they're not well educated, like they're let this group that is really well educated of this class basically make the decisions that are great for the community.
They got a lot of censorship too.
Oh yeah, and
Their internet
that's horrible.
censored. That's got to be rough.
So imagine being someone that's Mandarin Chinese doing stand-up comedy. Like they don't have a lot of those right out there, and that's a big, in my opinion, loss for China. I mean, it's a great thing that we have where you can make fun of things and ourselves. I think when you make fun of yourself, like that's the biggest thing.
I think self-deprecating humor is a big, such a big tool to get just people to just, I don't know, to get people together. As soon as someone points out their own flaws, I want to be their friend. I'm like, all right, they get it, man. They're not perfect.
It's the best armor too. Like it's almost like having the best defense is a good offense. And to me, it's like, hey, before you can make fun of me, like, yeah, I'm gonna make fun of my loud laugh, my slick back hair.
I'm gonna 8 Mile myself.
Right,
if y'all watch 8 Mile, you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly, and that's so smart. It's so
a
smart
great
to
move.
do. And
I know everything you're about to say against me, Beckett.
Yeah, and he's like, now what do you got? Like, here, I just put it out there, and what do you got now?
I am a bum. I do live with my mom. I do have a friend named Cheddar Bob who saw the stuff in the foot.
That's such a good.
I love me some 8 Mile.
Yeah, that's
I
a
love
great
it.
movie.
Vic, you ever see 8 Mile?
Long time ago.
Homework assignment, rewatch it.
Gosh, I'm gonna just be in front of the TV all weekend.
Rewatch it again. Yeah, you know what? In fact, we all have an assignment this week. We all are going to watch the same special at the same time from our house. We're going to text each other in a group, and we're all going to eat donuts at the same time.
All right.
Donut watching party via text message. Can I get an amen?
I bet it's gonna be a serial killer. But you're gonna make us watch that Netflix.
Oh, you
thing,
know
right?
what, Vicky? Thank you
Mindhunter.
for
Yeah.
that transition. Yeah, if y'all haven't seen Mindhunter and you like serial killer shit, Mindhunter is the jam.
That's bird's cut.
So Mindhunter is one of those specials on Netflix where it's a scripted show, but they put real life serial killers in there and talk about, I mean, just making serial killers look like stars, man. They are. They got their own Netflix. If you think the BTK isn't laying in prison right now going, motherfuckers doing a Netflix special on me, that attention whore doesn't love that.
Yeah.
Loves it. But we're eating it up like a fucking piece of cornbread, Vicky.
Yeah, now he's getting girls riding him in prison, you know, like
It's a thing I always struggle with being on the air because I love watching that stuff. In fact, watching Mindhunters made me Google and research the BTK, and it was one of those. Have you ever read something or watched something and you just can't get it out of your head? Is there anything in the
Yeah.
top of your head right now? If I said, Vicky, what's something that you read or heard that shit I can't get out of my? Because there was something about the BTK that I read up on that scared the shit out of me, and I just can't. It's making me lock my door 9 times at night.
I've always been kind of obsessive about Ted Bundy.
Okay, is there a specific factoid that kind of gnaws at you?
I guess. Well, I think about when he got caught here in Florida, and when he killed the 12-year-old girl.
Kimberly Leach, rest in
that
peace.
I just can't believe that he did that. And I remember the governor at the time said, "You kill a child in Florida, and you're gonna die."
And the thing is about that one, he could talk about pretty much every one of them. Couldn't talk about that one. He wouldn't talk about it
Yeah,
because
that's-
he was a coward.
Yeah, it's so I've always been a little obsessed with him.
So probably his last murder, the Kimberly Leach murder, is the thing that stayed with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can absolutely get that. Denny's, something that you've read.
It was probably to keep it, I guess, in the same vein.
It doesn't have to be. It could be anything.
It came to my head. The Albert Fish. Remember that cat?
Let the audience know who that is.
So I guess back in the day, he was known as like the original boogeyman. He would he liked to kidnap kids, and
This guy was Beckett.
he was into like self-genital mutilation. He was into like really messed up stuff.
When they did his autopsy, they found so many pins inside
Pins and needles.
his ass. Because he loved
And
he
his
loved
genitals.
He loved pain, yeah, and his dick. It was
Crazy.
awful.
So I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to give people nightmares.
Yeah, we're
but,
sorry. We're just keeping it.
But the letter that he
we
wrote,
KAR.
the letter that he wrote is absolutely just appalling.
Yeah, he wrote a letter to it's the Albert Fish letter that he wrote to the victim's parents. We watched a documentary on it, and it will mess with your
It's
head.
just literally you never forget it.
You never forget it. It's that mind
So
freaky.
I recommend not checking it out.
So I wonder how many people will check it out now.
You never know. He definitely will not be celebrity.
Chat room, let me know right now. By Denny's talking about the Albert Fish letter, will you check it out or will you not? Because it will mess with your mind.
It'll change.
It's kind of a social experiment. I want to see, what people think.
Yeah.
Beckett, what was yours?
I'm kind of more boring. Like the TED Talks and like all different like some of these like plant-based documentaries have blown my mind. But to stay in the same vein, I would say, well, I guess it was made up, but that movie Gone Girl. You know that movie Gone Girl with Ben
concept.
Affleck.
So Vicky comes at us with some Ted Bundy, and you come at us with some weak-ass TED Talk. And Gone Girl, Beckett, get out of my house.
No, but she was hot. She was a murderer. She was a murderer, so you're really
the
conflicted because she's smart.
That's the shit that fucked with your head, Beckett. What the shit,
well,
man?
it messed with my head because at the end of the movie, I thought she was really hot and she was a murderer. and
Spoiler alert, Beckett.
Jeez.
What the shit,
I haven't
man?
seen it yet. What? I'm kidding.
No, it doesn't spoil it because she's like this like smart,
getting ready to spoil it,
attractive,
though.
Gone girl, gone Beckett, get
Ivy
out.
League. I don't really watch a lot of serial
I
killers.
love it
stuff.
how it's like we're talking about serial killers, the horrific shit. Beckett comes in with Gone Girl. That's what rattles you.
It's so fitting.
All right.
She's a femme fatale for
So
sure.
for me with the BTK, this was a horrifying thing. He would stalk his victims. Sometimes a day, two. He'd get all the intel. And I'm not sure if it was all of his victims, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't, but there was one or two victims where he broke into their house and they weren't there. And he just ate sandwiches, made himself at home, and then just laid in the closet for hours waiting for them to go to bed. So you go home tonight from work. You're putting the microwave on. You put Wheel of Fortune on. You're all cozy. Everything's great. You hear something up in the closet. Oh, of course, it's the air condition. It's always the air conditioned Denny's.
God, creepy just listening.
Put the shower on. Oh, yeah. You put your little Head and Shoulders in that beautiful hair, Beckett. Because that hair, it don't clean itself. You wash off in that nice towel. You lay in bed. You put on your program of the night, getting cozy. You text your loved one or whoever your booty texting that for that night. Maybe you won't rub one out. Maybe you do. I don't know. Whatever you're into. And then
That would be a bad.
all
prank
of a
if you're-
sudden, you're faced with a guy with a pistol and a fucking mask who's about to BTK your ass. What the shit?
Yeah, I don't know what you do. I think I just charged that moment, right?
So for
You
me,
have to go crazy.
For
You
me,
have to
the
go
thing
nuts.
that scares me was the whole in the closet while you're doing just you're doing the dish. You're mulling around while he's in the closet preparing to
Yeah.
attack your ass. Holy shit!
Yeah,
You lay down, you're so vulnerable.
Oh,
yeah.
And
Dude,
so
I
many
always-
serial killers do stalk their victims before, so they have just been watching them, looking at their patterns, figuring out the best time to get them.
some of them are stock, some of them are random, some of them just see it and then they. So another thing I learned about the BTK. Driving down the street, he sees a victim and he hadn't killed for a while, and that switch turn he just couldn't control it. And such an egotistical prick. He got caught because he was sending letters to the police, wanted the notoriety, Denny.
Yeah. Does everyone here sleep with their bedroom door closed?
I cannot sleep. If my bathroom door's open, I can't sleep.
I always sleep with my bedroom door closed.
I gotta close that
I
shit.
close it.
Well, I just figure at least if he has a machete, he's got to at least turn the knob.
Oh,
That
yeah.
gives me 0.5 seconds of
100%.
doing something.
My bed is usually always in some fashion or another. I'm facing the door in some way.
The best move I have if somebody attacks me, Vicky, while I'm sleeping, is to pick up the bowl of whatever sauce I had that night, just fucking fling it in his eyes, blind him with sauce.
Yeah, I sleep with my door open.
That's
Because
crazy.
I like to be able to hear throughout.
To me, that gives me anxiety.
It does, because I'm always afraid I'm going to look up and just see this woman with this like mime face with a butcher knife, creepy crawling towards me. Japin. Or for you, Beckett, let me go ahead and cut that hair.
The next girl you
horrifying.
hook up with is totally gonna do that. Just
I'd be kind of into. I do like some role playing, Beckett. I do like some role
Act
playing.
like a ghost.
So we have been going for a little over an hour. I did want to give the people a little bit extra content. I apologize for our morning show the last day or two. We've been kind of doing best ofs, and we haven't been doing a lot of original content. So it's nice to give the people a few extra minutes. Let's go another 5 minutes. You guys cool with that?
Okay.
All right, love it. What's the worst thing you guys have ever woke up to? There's a there's a
So clearly
Not who.
Beckett's got a story.
Not who,
wow,
what?
my bad.
all right. So for me,
I just think it's like stupid. Yeah.
So for me, I was sleeping on my couch one night, and I kept on hearing this fucking frog, rabbit, rabbit, and it sounded like it was in my house. But I'm thinking, no, it's not in my house. It's outside because they're always banging outside. They're so loud. No, it was inside, and I'm like, I just went back under, and I feel something jump on my face and land on my ear, and it was a damn toad, Beckett, a toad, and I was I was going under. It woke me. I was so afraid. There's a story in the news the last week where they think this happened while this woman was sleeping. Do you have the clip? It's she falls asleep and she feels something burrowing in her ear, and it's a brown recluse spider. Here's her talking about it.
Woke up Tuesday morning hearing a bunch of swooshing and water in my left ear. Ran out and said, I'm going to go get a couple more people. And she said, I think you have an insect in there. Now, I didn't panic because I didn't know what exactly it was until she came back in and they told me it was a spider. They worked their magic and got it out. Never thought that they would crawl in your ear or any part of your body. I went and put some cotton balls in my ear last night because I didn't have any earplugs. I'm pretty terrified of the spiders.
Jeez, that's going to
bad.
give Denny's nightmares.
So Denny's is so afraid of spiders. When you hear that, is that your worst nightmare?
That would be rough. The brown recluse in the ear. I'm more, I think it must stem from childhood, from walking through big spider webs as a kid. Man, spider webs are what get me. Like, if I walk through a spider web, I lose the ability to focus.
The least emotional person I've ever seen. He doesn't get mad. He doesn't yell. He kind of just keeps it right there. He turns into a bitch when it comes to spiders and when it comes to webs.
Yeah, the webs, man. It's these. So I was afraid. Last hurricane blew just a mess of spiders over into the side of town, dude. But to the point where they were building obnoxious amount of webs in trees, to where trees looked like they were being, spun. Oh my gosh. So I don't know, the colonies, if you look, and when you guys are leaving here, when you get to the cross section over there, look up at the where the lights are hanging. In between those two wires, you will see, I don't know, 75 spiders up there. That's how close they are. Wow. They're coming this way. Yeah. I was afraid this storm was...
Spiders are coming, Beckett. Look out for your head.
Well, I thought they were getting... Last year, they got blown on me. So this year, I was afraid of the storm, and it didn't blow them on me, thank God.
But that movie, Arachnophobia, when we were kids.
Oh, I watched it.
Oh, my God.
Denny's hates when spiders blow on his porch.
So there was an issue with the car dealership Mazda. The way they designed their car, the gas tank, it was really actually a good way for them to design it to fit in their cars. But the way it went, it would leak a little bit of gas fume out, and it would attract spiders. And it was the way that it was designed, it wouldn't get obnoxious enough to keep them away. And they were building spider webs in people's gas tanks. So people would be driving, and their gas tanks would set on fire. So Mazda had to keep recalling their cars. And then they found out that these spiders were attracted to the gas tank and building spider webs. What a dumb problem.
Oh my God.
That has cost them so much money twice.
So I feel a little guilty. We did Denny's random facts. I cut him off a few times. We got sidetracked. We never gave the theme song. So right now we need to do a salute. 3, 2, 1. Denny's random facts. Give us another random fact, Denny's.
Well, I'm glad you asked there, Bird. Let's see here. Did you guys know that the $2 bill is still being produced today? How long has it been since you guys have seen one?
$2 bill, probably, I don't know, a month and a half ago.
Well, they say apparently its rarity is due in part to the common misconception that it's no longer being produced. So when people find one, they collect them. So they have to keep putting them back in production because people keep saving them. Isn't that weird? That's
My mom collected them. I have some.
They keep putting them back in. So I guess I looked at the numbers. So there's roughly 1.3 billion $2 bills in circulation currently. There's 12 billion $1 bills, just to put it in perspective comparatively, out of our total circulation of $1.7 trillion currently in U.S. circulation. Pretty crazy, right?
I mean, Vicky.
I know that's got a lot of numbers in there. All right, here. Let me throw one bit before I get a grade. Let me throw one more thing.
I don't want the audience. I want to end on a high note, and I don't know. I don't know.
Let me bring. Let me.
I don't know if that's gonna do.
Let me throw.
I don't know if that's bringing the heat.
Let me throw one more detail. So I kind of
a shitty fact.
I was trying to razzle and dazzle you guys. With numbers. Let me turn it back around for just. I know you guys like words.
You got to turn it around, Denny, because shit. You just fucking sunk us in the Titanic.
All right. So originally things used to cost like 5 cents. People would get paid 15 cents a week. So when they came out with the $2 bill, it was such a large dollar value that they couldn't find a purpose for it because people would barely even have $1. So when it got to the point when we made $5 bills and $10 bills, they kind of left $2 in, and now that value was no longer purposeful. So they kind of just kept it around. They took it out and they brought it back. One of the reasons the $2 bill did not do so well was because there was rumors circulating that politicians were known for bribing people with $2 bills. So if you paid with a $2 bill, there was a negative connotation on it. Also, people would go gambling with $2 bills to make high bets, so it implied that you were a gambler. Plus, prostitution back in the day was $2 a trick, so it implied if your wife found a $2 bill in your wallet that you might have been out prowling for women. What do you think? That's why I got such a bad rap, $2 bill.
Just let it hang there for a second.
Yeah. You guys, whatever. That's interesting.
Vicky, what are your thoughts?
This is like the kid that does the report, and then it's like, oh wait, here, I have a graphic, I have this, and I have this, and I have this. I do like the extra facts that you threw in at the end, though, so I'm gonna go B+.
Oh, there you go.
Damn.
I give it a solid.
Get out of here.
I'm just kidding. Baby, you know I love you. You know I love you and your factoid.
I'm trying to get you woke about that $2 bill.
Yeah.
I like it.
Instead of the joke jury, you get the woke jury.
Oh.
I love it, Denny. It's very, very good. You have anything else, or you want to end on that mediocre note?
Let's end on one. Let's end on one. Would you rather?
Yeah, let's do some Would You Rather.
We do have some would you rather.
There, Mr. Creative.
Let's put it on Jaybird.
No, these are not very good. Would you rather have spiders stuck in your ears 24/7 for the rest of your life, or have butt worms for 24/7 for the rest of your life? It's either earworms, where you're constantly scratching, or you have worms in your butt and you are picking and sticking, baby.
Ugh. Butt worms.
You'd rather have butt worms?
Over ear spiders? Yeah, dude, definitely.
You say it so, like, oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I'm definitely ear spiders.
You're definitely ear spiders.
You're like, hey, babe, what's up? And then a spider climbs out of your ear. That's
So you go
terrible.
butt worms, Danny.
Yeah.
You go
Plus,
ear
you can
spiders.
kind of hide that,
I go
too.
ear spiders.
Vicky,
I'm spiders.
I go butt worms. I got to take care of upstairs before I can go take care of downstairs. Take care of the front of the house, Beck, and not the back.
It's such an important part.
I don't know, man.
How
I can't,
could you chill if a spider came out of your ear? Everybody would say, what was that, Beckett?
Dude, you
Get
got to
used
go.
to it.
You have to go worm, ass worms.
I'm
You
just
got to.
I'm just gonna wear Beats headphones all the time and get some bug spray.
Yeah, and you're constantly wanting to scratch your ass. How are you gonna do that?
You constantly want to scratch your ear. You look like you're on fucking crank constantly.
I'm in like serious thought all the time.
And then you're trying to talk to people. Go, no.
That's why they invented texting. Okay, I'm still going with the ear spiders.
So clearly, me and Denny's
Great
are
divide.
right on this one. Audience, let us know. Butt worms or
Ear
or
spiders.
ear spiders. I don't know, Denny's. I think we were right. Okay. Would you rather always have it be a Category 5 storm out anytime you step out of your house?
Too soon.
I'm like Dave Chappelle.
I know. Very controversial.
Email me, man. Or Beckett fucking threw me off. Or always have it be gorgeous outside, but you're never allowed to leave your house ever again. So you're looking out, Vicky. It's the best day. You see your loved Lindsley's out there. She's playing with the Saint
Lindsley.
Bernard. Your daughter.
The German Shepherd.
German Shepherd. You can see her. She can't see in. You can never go outside again. Or every time you go out, you can go to Panera Bread. You can get that tomato biscuit bowl, but you're going out to get
Category 5.
Category 5 every
Jeez.
time.
I'll go with the Cat 5.
What?
Interesting.
Yeah.
How many areas does this Cat 5 affect?
Beckett, whether you're in Paris saving zebras or whether you're in Botswana sending
So it's only going to affect
canoes,
me. So
Yes.
it'll be nice in Jacksonville, nice
This
in
is like
Miami.
a Twilight Zone episode. You carry the burden. So as soon as you walk out, Category 5 for everybody involved. Or Beckett stays indoors
I think
and
Beckett's
bangs a robot.
bangs a robot.
How's that speaker doing?
Oh, jeez. I think Beckett turned his microphone up earlier, too.
Yeah, Beckett, do not turn your microphone up. All right, Denny's, your thoughts?
Jeez, I'd say inside, easy. Easy peasy.
You stay inside.
Yeah.
Now he's an excuse to do so.
Yeah, exactly. With the power of technology.
So you're going. Let's wrap this up. Beckett goes.
Stay inside.
Stay inside, Vicky. Go
I'm cat
outside. I'm with Vicky. I go outside. Cat 5. You have to be able to leave your house, man.
Can't really do much out there.
I feel like I feel like you would adapt to what a Cat 5 is. It becomes your new normal.
What is it,
As
100
weird
No
as
one's
that
gonna.
sounds.
You think child molesters can't live in certain neighborhoods? If you had a Cat 5 following you everywhere, no one's gonna let you live in your neighborhood. You're gonna live in ghost towns all the time.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, child molesters.
What a controversial comparison.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about.
we watched Dave Chappelle, so we're fresh off the heels.
I do a fun hurricane question, and this motherfucker's got to get all controversial on me.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you can't live in a neighborhood anymore. Think about it.
No.
If you had a Cat 5, there's not going to be any Panera Breads close or
If
open.
you move in, okay, let's say you move into Pawtucket.
Wrecking in the game, Beckett.
Beckett's got to have the loophole. There's no loopholes, Beckett. You move to Pawtucket, you walk outside, there's a category 5. It's on you.
Yeah, everyone's pissed at me every time I walk outside.
They don't know it's your fault, though. They have no idea it's you. You know. You live with the guilt. Not Tom Frankens, your next door neighbor.
I think I'm still going sex robot.
Sex.
I like how
Wasn't the option.
that got added in somehow.
By the way,
He's sweeting the deal.
there is actually a sex robot story in the news that we have to get to after this last final.
Is it local?
No, but it can be local in your heart.
Okay.
Would you rather sleep? This is more of a Vicky Beckett question.
Okay.
All right.
But Dennis, you can chime in. Would you rather sleep with Pat Sajak or Alex Trebek?
Oh, Alex Trebek.
Really?
With the mustache or
With
without?
it or without?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Beckett?
What, I have to do the guy thing?
Yes.
Oh, you were not going to do like a comparable girl
No,
thing?
you have to bang Pat Sajak or Alex Trebek. You have to pick one. If not, me and Denny's, we don't live.
I'm going with the Jeopardy guy. Which guy is that?
That's so disrespectful. You know, I was kidding before, but seriously, get out of my house. Alex Trebek, motherfucker.
Alex Trebek.
Alex Trebek.
I'm going with him.
Trebek.
I love me some Passe Jack's a
You do,
legend.
you love them.
But I love me some Trebek too. I do.
I do Trebek as well.
A real quick, to go on the whole robot thing, there is a story. There's robot strippers. So there's a place in France where they have, for the last week or two, to celebrate an anniversary for their strip club, they brought in 2 robot strip dancers, and people are into it. My question to y'all are, would you be into something like that? Could you actually get titillated from a robot that was giving you a lap dance? Now think about hold on now, Beckett. You haven't had sex in 3.5 years. You are desperate. You're sad. A sexy robot comes up to you. Hello, Ryan Beckett. Oh my gosh, your hair looks good. Let me lay on you. Oh my gosh, look at that bachelor penis. And says all the things you like and starts rubbing your leg. Could you get titillated by that? Think about that.
I think I would probably have sex with the robot, but I don't think I would be turned on by the robot.
Beckett wouldn't put emotions into it.
No.
Bro.
You don't get those butterflies tying it back to the beginning of the podcast.
No, I don't think I'm getting turned on by like a robot doing a striptease or anything like that.
Vicky,
it's just like
this robot's a unbelievable dresser.
my hand can't do a fancy dance and say like, oh, I get turned on by it, right? Like it's more of like the actual, and who knows where technology goes? Maybe that changes down the road.
Okay.
But I don't think that's anywhere.
Vicky, in 5 seconds or less, tell me physically the kind of guy you're into. 5.
Dark hair, at least 6 foot tall, nice hands.
Okay.
Damn, 6 foot tall.
Damn. All right. All right. So we got a robot here. Vicky's been lonely. It's been 3 to 4 years. This robot looking hot as shit. Dark hair. Got some good dance moves. Puts the moves on you, saying all the right nice things. No way you could get excited about that.
No, it's not real.
I'm with you on that, Vicky. I think you can get sexually excited, like on a, forgive me for like a masturbation level, but as far as feelings and getting so excited, like, yeah, I'm about to get with a robot. I don't know if that's going to be.
I 100% agree with you. But I will say this: if you saw the new Lion King movie, those computer graphics look damn near real these days. I mean, I just think that they're basically just Disney's just showing off with their animation. So,
yeah.
So my point is that I think it's hard for us to like get our minds around something, a robot seeming real.
Because it's so in the future.
Yes, but let's just say 100 years, 500 years from now, like they make robots that are actually the hottest girl you've ever seen. Like, I don't know. I think that might change your mind a little bit.
What about animation, though? Because there's people that get riled up by...
Yeah, I can see animation working more than robots.
But animation is never going to happen in real life. Like, animation is more, to me, like watching porn, because it's more of
but
like...
it can titillate you.
Well, okay, yeah.
That's what I'm saying is, yeah, I don't want to date Ariel at all. Not our producer, the cartoon, the mermaid. But if... I got to be careful how I say this. I don't want to come off too pervy. You know what? I'm going to eject from this thought process. Hey, I ain't going to say anything. All right, that's going to be the end of the podcast.
Now I'm curious.
Thank you guys for listening. We do appreciate all of the emails. We didn't get to everybody. It's always so great to see everybody. I'm glad everyone's safe from the storm. The question I want to pose in the YouTube chat: is politically incorrect comedy good or bad for society? And if there's a subset of your thoughts, because I'm seeing a lot of people saying, bad comedy's great, but ... I don't know. Is there a but? Is it a black or white question?
It has to be black or white, right?
Yeah, because what's offensive to you, there might be 90% of a comedy special you think is really funny, and then 10%, jars at you because it happened to you. Are you more... Are you bringing your own personal bias to that? Is it not funny, or are you just more too into it? So let me know in the comment section, or let us know in the comment section. Is politically incorrect comedy, is it something that's needed in society right now? Because a lot of it's washed down. I mean, if you say some politically incorrect shit, you are going to be called to the carpet. So let us know, good or bad for society. What was our other question? We had one other one. Was it if you wanted to bang a robot? What was it?
Well, I think you proposed that one earlier too.
Okay, let us know in the YouTube comment section. Please wait for it to populate. We love you all, and
Bigfoot is real.